The extraordinary summit on Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program was thought of after the failure to hit the target of the Malabo Declaration, specially to end hunger and poverty by 2025. In the scorecard of 7.8 out of 10, only 18 countries had achieved at least 5 out of 10, which called for a comprehensive review of the strategies, hence the Caadp Kampala Summit.
But it was not because member states did not make progress. They made some progress, but the benchmark to reach there was very high.
The leaders were cognizant of the economic shocks like COVID-19 pandemic, conflicts and climate change, and thus adopted a theme dubbed Sustainable and Resilient Agri-Food Systems for a Healthy and Prosperous Africa to change the narrative. This is a six-fold strategy prepared to transform Africa's agri-food systems, including 1. Intensifying sustainable food production, agro-industrialization and trade. 2. Boosting investment and financing for transformation. 3. Ensuring food and nutrition security. 4. Advancing inclusivity and equitable livelihoods. 5. Building resilient agri-food systems. And 6. Strengthening agri-food systems governance.
But we are just on the policy level. In terms of implementation, this is the responsibility of the member states.
At the 3-day summit, leaders agreed upon avenues to achieve the decade-long strategies, among which is enhancing peace and security to ensure that the respective states have stable institutions. So, without adequate implementation of the strategies as agreed upon, the objectives will remain wanting.
We have work where countries that have done it have actually seen huge progress. Any country that has invested 10% has seen huge progress. So the biggest shortfall has been that very few countries, or a handful, let me not say very few, a handful of countries have been able to do 10%.
The most important thing is to make sure that the private sector is enabled by governments to invest more by creating an enabling environment, making sure that we have the right policies, making sure that we are fighting corruption and removing all bureaucratic bottlenecks that hamper investments in Africa.
The member states eye the Africa Intercontinental Free Trade Area while pursuing economic integration. But this is only achieved if the countries invest in respective infrastructures to ease physical connection.
So that we can put those measures to eliminate the passports, so that we will be the free movement of, of women and the goods, amongst our region. If you look at the West Africa, this thing doesn't exist. They have already got a very good integration. They have the same currency. They don't need visa to travel. They travel with this thing among that region.
As long as the agriculture high production areas still face the challenges of poor infrastructure, imports will continue to be a priority.
One of the reasons we are sending 100 billion out is because it's easier to get food from Brazil than it is to get it from your village, about 200 kilometers from your city.
It is on record that 30% of farmers' produce is lost on the fields, calling for the political will and commitment to change the narrative.
The businesses that have done well are the businesses that have figured out how to make a value chain work for every player in the value chain. Because if I'm not profitable, I'll be the weakest link. So today, most of our value chains are weak because the weakest link is the farmer. If I'm in the business and I'm not profitable, I'm not going to do what is expected, right?
It is also important to ensure that the agricultural practices are intentional, such that the market does not reject the produce. This will help reduce the gap of post-harvest loss.
I have innovated the word Yumalaga do everything. So Yumalaga produce.
Is that your own creation?
It is my own creation, Yumalaga do. So you have not organized your production. You have not complied to the standards and requirements of the market. You get. So by the time you get to the market, your produce is rejected. So we lose the produce in that case. Farmers need extension, but that extension should not be generalized extension. It has to be specialized extension that is the product focused, that is the market focused, not this wara all over the place.
Caadp leaders also called for avenues of making sure that farmers are more resilient by creating mutual relationship with the authorities and understanding the needs of the farmers.
We've always come at this smallholder farmer problem from a perspective of being very solution oriented, in the sense that we provide a solution, and the solution is based at what we do well, not what the farmer wants. We've figured out to focus on what the farmer wants and what the farmer needs to transform his livelihood. The farmer needs seeds, but he also needs fertilizers, but he also needs a market, but he also needs water, but he also needs ABCD, needs financial inclusion and all that. How do you create an ecosystem of service that helps business work with the farmer? Because they have visibility of who the farmer is, because they have means of reaching the farmer, because they can engage with the farming community.
There is no resilient agri-food system without resilient actors. The kind of life our farmers live should be a going concern before even you're concerned about how flooding and droughts are. The kind of life they live. Let everybody reflect at the countryside the kind of life smallholder farmers are living. Those are not the lives they lived in the olden days of our grandparents.
The respective member states need to integrate the Caadp strategies into their respective national development plans to ensure that the objectives are reached at.
How are we resourcing these interventions, and how are we expanding outreach and service delivery on purpose? But if we are still scattering our little resources all over, however, by whoever, then another decade is going to leave us and we move into another capital. If we are still alive, we shall go to another capital and a new declaration will be made.
President Yoweri Museveni, while giving his closing remarks during the Caadp summit, reminded the leaders of how Uganda organized its systems in form of 4 sectors to be able to change the narrative.
So we identified the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, manufacturing, services, tourism, hospitality, professional services, and later on another sector, ICT. That's how the economy has been growing quite well. We are now a middle-income country, but we are going to grow even much faster than we have been growing.
Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
Beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within.